So, hello again. It's me, Mr. Cool McCain, and we're here with the Eagles Elite Podcast. So, I just want to say there's a lot of things that we're going to talk about tonight, very relevant to the best team in the league, the Philadelphia Eagles. In my opinion, the best team in the league every year. But there's one thing I just want to say before we get everybody on and we get the show going, and that is 11-1. We're going to talk about the game in detail once we, have everyone come on and we get things popping. But just want everybody to remember 11-1. The 5 games that we have left: Giants, Bears, Saints, Cowboys, Giants again. That's what we have left. So I feel confident that we're going to clinch a playoff berth here in the immediate future. And we're going to have the inside track to the number 1 seed in the NFC and the only bye in the playoffs. But what I really want to say, there's been a lot of people, and we talked about it all off season, that were hating on QB1, my guy, Mr. Jalen Hurts, as one of my favorite Eagles content. People puts it, Lord Brunson, it's Hurts season. It's Hurts season last year. It's Hurts off season. It's going to be Hurts off season this year. So if you can't get down with that, you're going to be a very miserable fan of a team that's doing very well. With that being said, we're going to go ahead and get things popping off this week. Wyatt, what's going on, man?
What's going on, man? Not too much. Another week, another Eagles dub. I'm ready to break it all down with y'all.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And we're going to call an audible here and slide in Miss J Swoop next. How are we doing today, babe?
I am good. I'm good. How is my Eagles Elite family doing?
We're great. We're ready to
awesome.
rock.
Doing great.
And as always, hi to my mom and dad who are watching live as they do every week, and Alyssa from Eagles Locker Room. Hi, everybody. And thanks, Mom, for the new Eagles hat and shirt for my birthday.
All right. All right. And last but, of course, not least, we have Miss Eagles Diva herself.
Oh, I got one thing for y'all.
E-A-G-L-E-S, Eagles.
That's all I got to say.
Said it all.
Good evening, Alyssa. And thanks for my Christmas card. I appreciate that, ma'am.
What's up, Alyssa?
Thank you. I got mine. I'm sorry I didn't text you. Thank you so much.
And I also want to say, we're here. We're here every week. Well, it's time to get hype. And it's time. It's time. Let's go.
The kick is away, and the kick is, it's gone! And the Eagles win!
It's hard to come to South Philadelphia and leave here with the win. You just don't come to Philadelphia and leave here with the win.
Eagles fans everywhere, this is for you. Let the celebration begin.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. So, y'all know how we do this by now. If you've watched before, you kind of know the breakdown. You know what comes first, and you know how we rock this thing, right? But if you're new, we've got some visual aids for you. Breaking news.
Yes, sir. You know what time it is. Just a couple records here. First, Eagles are the first team in 35 years, this Sunday to run the ball for 350 yards in one game, and then the very next week pass for over 350 yards. Like, it's just asserting our dominance through every asset of the offense here. And I mean, as long as we can keep this going, I mean, the sky's the limit. I mean, we'll get to the actual game breakdown. We'll talk about all that, but man, it seems like every week something is happening as far as record breaking or something as far as Eagles history.
Oh yeah.
And a couple injury news, nothing huge. Apparently, Quez Watkins, Kazir White, and Jordan Davis were also. Jordan Davis was on limited snaps going into the game. Apparently, he tweaked his ankle a little bit. Sirianni says it's not all those injuries are nothing major. We haven't really had any news even through these press conferences the past couple of days. So I guess we'll see in the injury report tomorrow on the first big practice of the week. So I mean, it doesn't appear that it's going to be super serious. I mean, they didn't even mention during the game on anywhere about Jordan Davis being out. I mean, I saw Kazir White go down though at one point and Quez later in the game. The other record we have here is the Devontae Smith and AJ Brown are the first Eagles receiving duo to have over 100 yards in a game since 2013. It's been a while since we had an elite group here and on our wide receiver core.
And I believe in 2013, if I'm not correct, that would have been Jeremy Maclin and Deshaun Jackson.
Yes, I'm pretty sure. And for the second straight week, our boy Jalen Hurts has won NFC Offensive Player of the Week. This time with his arm. Last week he won it with his legs. This time he won it with his arm, like we already mentioned. But he is the first Eagle to ever win the award 2 straight weeks in a row. So it's just another record, man. Jalen Hurts is out here doing his thing and really solidifying himself as an MVP candidate right now.
See, I wanted to finish what I was saying earlier about Jalen Hurts. So we've had a lot of people, Eagles fans included, come out and say, oh, he can't sustain his career because he runs too much. This is a perfect example of the dichotomy that is Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts will go out there and run the ball 10, 15 times one game. He'll go out there the next game and run the ball 2-3 times. We're not looking at a guy that depends on his legs every week to get things done. He reverts to that in situations where it's necessary, right? For us to win 2 weeks ago against the Colts, it was necessary. A week ago for us to win, we needed that 157 yards for him because things weren't working with the passing game, right? So sometimes it necessitates he does those things. But this is not the first game where Hurts has not run the ball a lot and has had a great game through the air. So let's not jump too quick to Jalen Hurts throws the ball not enough and he runs the ball too much and he's really just, a running back that can throw and he's not going to have a long career because of that. Pump your brakes. Relax. He's able to understand what needs to be done in the situation and do those things. It's not the same from week to week. I think it's amazing to come out and be player of the week because of what you did with your legs one week as a quarterback and then come out and show everybody, don't get it twisted. The arm still works. The accuracy is still there. I can place balls wherever I want as well. So big ups to him for, being able to do that back-to-back in 2 different ways. And, that's all I had to say about that. You guys have any thoughts?
I'm just, you know what? I keep expecting there to be a week where somebody somewhere is not complaining about Hurts either running or passing and why I expect that. We're the number 1 team. We're 11-1. Haters are going to hate. So, but I think Diva and I talked one time about Michael Vick and how he ran the ball, and just sometimes the way that Hurts runs the ball, it just clicks in my mind that it was kind of the same thing. And people can say what they want about Vick. As a quarterback, I thought he was great. So, and Hurts reminds me of that, the way he's always taking charge and running with the ball and rushing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. People didn't say that when Vic done it. They thought it was amazing. So what's the difference?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, at the end of the day, as long as it's getting dubs, it's all that matters.
Right.
They just want to find some reason, in my opinion, to discredit QB1. and not give him the props. But the thing is, by the time Vic got to us, I would agree that he had become a lot better as a passer, so he didn't need to run as much.
Mm-hmm.
We got a question. Who do y'all think is going to be MVP and why? We will get to that question for you, Alyssa. We definitely will. Let's give everybody a few minutes to think about it. We'll definitely get to that question. All right. And one of the comment Hurts measures that goes up every week because he's an Eagle. I cannot argue with that, Keen DV.
It's true.
I love that. I may steal that. I'll give you credit, but I may steal that. But we just have to be honest and just say, look, this is what it is. He's a guy that can run. He's a guy that can throw. People are going to hate. They're going to find any reason why we shouldn't pay him, why we shouldn't keep him, no matter how well it is. He wins the MVP. We win the Super Bowl. He throws for 5,000 yards, rushes for another 2,000. They'll still find a reason why we shouldn't have him. You know, because that's what true hate is. You know, and I've learned to embrace the hate because no one likes us, even some of our own fans, and we don't care.
It's baffling how many haters within the fan base there are.
Yes, absolutely.
Single fans. When is my husband single?
I'm not touching it. I'm just putting the comment up, and then we're going to move on to the next day. I'm not touching that.
I'm teasing him.
With a 10-foot pole, I'm not touching that one. But yeah, guys. So, you know, another big piece of injury news that we wanted to highlight, I'm pretty sure. There's a certain gentleman that plays cornerback. He plays in the slot, and his window to play has been opened.
Yeah.
So
Vontae Maddox gonna be practicing here tomorrow.
Yes, sir. And if things go well, just as with Mr. Jordan Davis last week, we may get us some Vontae Maddox this week.
Yay!
I'm hoping so. I mean, I would be cool with them doing exactly what they were doing with Jordan Davis. I don't want to. I'm not sure if I'm ready to see him out there for a full game as of yet. Maybe put him on some kind of snap count because it seems like Josiah Scott, he's been kind of holding it down as of right now. He's been doing a well enough job that he can split those reps with Avonte at least for 1 week here.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. Like, we're not really worried if he comes back and he plays, 80 snaps or 60 snaps or whatever this game. Let's just get him in, get him some game action.
Yeah.
Help him get himself back into game shape, live shape. And we're going to be able to know that if we need to rotate out, Josiah Scott's a guy that we now have a little bit more confidence in. We've seen him play a couple of games. He's got beat sometimes, but hey, who doesn't?
Yeah, exactly.
And then King DV has a different take on Josiah Scott.
I mean, that's what I say. He's been
decent.
He hasn't been like he hasn't been like a huge star or anything, but he's been serviceable.
Yeah,
at the position. But like keeping on injury updates though, like Robert Quinn is on IR apparently. He had a knee scope operation where it's like, well, he's on IR, so I mean, you're really not going to notice much of a difference on that defensive line. I mean, he's only had like a couple QB hits, no sacks recorded or anything like that. So I mean, it sucks to lose a little bit of depth, but at the same time, he hasn't really contributed as much as we thought he was going to, especially trading a 4th-round pick for him.
Well,
has anybody heard anything update on Dallas Goedert? I'm sorry.
Dallas Goedert, he's supposed to come back next week off IR.
Yeah, we won't hear anything until next week. We'll know if how he's progressing by then. But the big thing is that's why you go out and sign Ndamukong Suh, right? Because he's a guy that you can play in different positions over the line for situations like this. Same thing with Linval Joseph. You may not have them play as many snaps, but that's why it's important to have that extra depth for when things do happen. A lot of those guys can play multiple positions, especially in the right defense. And hey, depth is important.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And I mean, if it seems like I think they said week 18 or something like that is when we could get him back off of IR. So once we get him back, it'll be going right into the playoffs.
Yeah.
So hopefully he's healthy and fresh. Maybe he will make an impact coming into the playoffs.
Maybe that knee was holding him back. You know what I mean?
Maybe.
Possibility. Yeah. And the main reason why we got him was for the playoffs anyway. So he'll be
And then
back for what we
he wouldn't have
need
had
him
a break
for.
either. You know what I'm saying? He would have played straight 18 games. He wouldn't have had no break. So that would have been
Yeah.
He came to us before their bye week. So yeah, he would have been playing all 18 games or 17 of the 18. I hope. So, ladies and gentlemen, we've got to talk about it because everyone else is talking about it.
Yeah. I forget, is it like Mike Florio? He's one that's like started the
rumor.
like he's the one that really started it. A lot of people are like saying this could be like OBJ's team kind of putting that out there just to kind of put some pressure on the Cowboys and some of these other teams that are looking to
And the
sign him.
Giants, yeah.
It may not be legit interest from the Eagles, but it's something that would definitely maybe put a little fire underneath some of these other teams that are looking at him.
Well, Nick came out and said, no, we don't need him. We don't want him. We don't need him. So.
Well, yeah, he said that like he felt good with the depth that we have. But I mean, I feel like they've said that before about safety and stuff. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised at the very least if we did. I hope we don't. But I mean, it seems like the way that we're scooping players, trying to make an all-in run at a Super Bowl, it wouldn't be surprised me how he did something like that, though. Even though I don't think there's really any much truth behind it.
Key, what's up?
What up, Key?
What up?
And
No, we don't think so.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even think he's ready to play. They said something about him not even being ready for like 4 or 5 weeks still.
Yeah. According to the reports, he wouldn't be ready until the end of the year, which is why he wanted to go to a playoff contender.
Yeah.
My thing is, man, we don't need him.
Yeah.
You know, I just don't feel like we need him. Like, we've got 2 really great number 1 receivers now. If we get an injury at wide receiver, Quez Watkins has an injury that's going to keep him out longer than we expect.
Yeah.
And maybe we take a flyer.
Pascal has an injury.
Maybe take a flyer to see him. Yeah, but he's had that groin injury for about 5 weeks. So he's been able to manage it so far. But his snap count's been down, but I think that that's been pretty normal too because of how well our 2 starters are doing. But I think unless there's a major injury, I think we're good to go. We've got some guys in the practice squad as well that kind of know how we play. They're in football shape. They're ready to go. I think it's hard to bring a guy in that hasn't played any football this season for a playoff run and expect him to really be able to contribute. For me, if I was a team looking at OBJ, I would say, look, man, you're going to have to sign with us in the offseason. We're going to have to get you in our program. We're going to have to make sure that you're ready to play next year. We're not going to put you out there the first time you play in the year in the playoffs. That's not going to be wise.
Yeah,
it's not going to be.
He's
helpful.
not even working out for teams. Like,
well, he can't work
teams
out.
He's visited, exactly. He's not even working out for him. So it's like, why would we sign you for not even sure on what you look like at this point? You know.
Exactly. So
anybody else? I mean, we got Covey. We got guys on practice squad too. Like what he said. I mean, we got the track star on the practice squad still. We haven't even seen from since like week 1.
And as Key so eloquently put it when she was on the show, we need to get that bowling ball with legs out there playing.
Yeah. We need to get, Trey Sermon. Is that his name? Who is it?
Yep.
Trey Sermon?
Yeah, I steal, but I still give you credit, but I do steal. You know what I'm saying?
I agree. I would do that before getting OBJ or anything like that. Bring Trey Sermon up on an active roster.
Yeah. Oh, excuse me. I said bowling ball with legs. It's bowling ball with feet. Thank you for the correction, ma'am. I appreciate that.
Real Husbands of Football is still killing me.
Yeah, Real Husbands of Football is definitely.
Dude can ball, though.
He can play when he's playing.
When he's playing, play.
And played all year, man. I'm not one to bring that onto the team. And plus, there's been some questionable things with him as a teammate. We don't want any of that.
You don't want to mess up the locker room.
Everything's going to roll. Yeah, we rolling. So let's just, if it ain't broke, we don't really need to fix it. That's my opinion.
Right.
Jalen doesn't do any of that nonsense.
Yeah. He has to target one guy X amount of times just to make sure he feels good. We don't do that over here. We definitely don't do that.
I'm still mad.
So guys, No, go ahead.
I'm still mad when he thought he was pissing on our field a couple years ago. No, he only.
Oh yeah.
That was so disrespectful. Like, nah. I still remember that.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good point. I wasn't going to bring it up, but I'm not mad at that you did.
I do remember that.
Yeah. Then he got hurt that same
guys,
day.
Yeah. He gets hurt a lot. That's something interesting to
Just
point out as
saying.
well. Yeah. And then, guys, we'll go on to one of my exciting things to look forward to this week. King DV says it's a hard no for Kobe in the slot.
You have to, man.
Oh, he said a Dollar General knee. King DV is coming with some hot takes today. Hot takes.
He's on.
I'm just saying. He's on one for sure. And he was compared to Hunter Renfrow.
Man, if he can keep looking like he looked Sunday on special teams, if you put him at receiver and he did some stuff like that, hey, I'm cool with it. Seems like he's kind of finding a rhythm at this point. Hopefully. We'll see.
Got to put his comment up there. I love it. So this is the kind of chicanery I love to be part of. I just got to be honest with y'all.
Chicanery.
I just love
Bless
it.
my husband's heart. Yeah.
All right. So yeah, guys, we're gonna start with Miss Swoop here.
I apologize. I've been sick. I think I missed the AJ Brown review. So I apologize. Is that just a review of the game?
Yes,
Is
ma'am.
that what? Okay. Well,
AJ Brown game.
AJ Brown game. That's awesome. So, can I tie that in with my whole game summary, or is that not what you?
Yeah, no, that's what we're doing. It's a game summary. We just call it the AJ Brown
Oh, okay.
game.
Okay. All right. Sorry, been sick, so I apologize if I mute. I've been caught. Before I say anything about Mr. Brown, the penalties were a little more than I wanted, but you know what? They weren't ridiculous. I think I heard something about the Arlington team being second on an average in penalties for the season. So I tend to be sometimes a little bit harder on my birds. And when I see all those King, during the game live, all those penalties, I tend to go like, oh my God, I can't believe it. Until I rewatch it and look at again. So I'm sorry, excuse me. So AJ, what can you say? I think I can probably speak for everybody, all my co-hosts, the touchdown that got called back, that he on the penalty, that he went back another 40 yards again and scored. And tell me if I'm wrong, was probably the best AJ Brown of the game. That was my personal favorite, because when that touchdown got called back, I was then all of a sudden turned it right around and just stuffed it right in the Titans' face. And they should have paid him the raise that he wanted back then, because your loss, our gain. Sorry. So, and I'm sure, I think I wrote down some kind of quote that he said, AJ Brown, today I'm going to have to give you this whooping. And he laughed. But I still love you, though. Not sure exactly who he was putting that at. I guess probably all the Titans when he said that.
The whole city, probably.
All right. I'll take it as that. And I'm so sorry. I lost my train of thought when I went with the penalties. I mean, AJ Brown, 119 yards. I'm so sorry. 8 receptions, 2 touchdowns. I mean, I could just go on and on and on and on and on about that. Miles Sanders. I mean, come on, rushing 10 carries, 24 yards. Hurts, I think, touchdown 2 yards? He did that? You know, there were so many touchdowns, I lost count. I mean, 2 for Brown, 1 for Sanders. I don't think Jake the Snake missed a field goal. I loved Fletcher Cox, one of his sacks on Ryan Sackhill. I don't know why that's stuck in my head. I'm not sure if he was the one that accidentally caught Ryan's ankles or fell on him. I'm not sure if he was the one. I'm trying to remember. One of the sacks, I think, one of our defensive players fell on it. And the penalty that was called on Hurts, I'm sorry if I'm jumping around, I got to look because I don't remember now. I want to say false start. Please, someone correct me if I'm wrong. It was not, because I remember watching the replay and yelling at my TV. And, of course, the sportscast announcers pointed it out. They called it on the wrong person. But you know what? It happens. All is not fair in calling penalties in that. So I am so sorry that, gosh, I can't remember the Titans player's name that AJ ran over by accident that got hurt. I truly am sorry that he got hurt, but I am glad that it was not a penalty. And I'm sorry I'm losing my voice, so I would like to pass it to somebody else. Sorry, excuse me.
Hey, Jen, King Davies got a couple of words for you.
Testable, not that cold at him. I tried to
All right,
test
Eagles
it,
Diva,
didn't work.
what you got for us?
I'm just very proud with how we played on offense and defense. We had 26 first downs. We had 16 passing first downs, 3 for 11 in third down efficiency, 3 for 3 in fourth down. We held the possession 32 minutes compared to their 27 minutes. We had no turnovers. The penalties were outrageous. It was 12 out of 80, and that's a lot of penalties to be called in a game. Rushing yards was 24 compared to their 21. And so I just feel like we really came out and played like how we should play every game. Defense was on it, like had pressure the whole time. Derrick Henry could not get out the pocket. He was basically kept in the backfield and shut all the way out, which they thought that we wasn't going to do. So I'm extremely happy about that. And once again, Jalen Hurts was outstanding with the arm, of course. A.J. Brown, my favorite play is, when he caught the ball on the defender's head. Like, that was a perfect what a throw, what a catch, what a pass, what a play. Like, that was wonderful. And just to be able to go out and just dominate on both ends of the ball like we know we can was really good. So I'm just ready to see what we're going to do playing the Giants. Because we already see what we can do if we play like we're supposed to on both ends of the ball.
All right, Wyatt, man, hop in. What we got?
Yeah, man. I mean, without all the penalties, I feel like this is definitely one of the most complete games we've had this season. I'm hoping that this defense can keep doing what it was doing in this game because they did a hell of a job. We held Derrick Henry under 30 yards, which is incredible. He wasn't breaking tackles. They were able to get to him fast and stop him before he started getting going. So as long as we could keep doing that here, especially with Saquon next week, I mean, sky's the limit. And some of these guys is really showing some of the depth that we have. Guys are coming in and making big plays. I mean, with Kazir White going out, we got to see Nakobe Dean actually get some action, and he made some really meaningful plays in this game. So say if Kazir is questionable or maybe if he's unable to go, which we don't really know yet, I'm fully confident with Nakobe Dean preparing for a start. It seems like his IQ for football is just, off the charts. Same with like Reed Blankenship. He had another very strong game here. So, I mean, it's encouraging to see some of these young guys step up when called upon. So the future looks bright for the team as of right now. Offense, the key was going to be passing. We all knew that. We talked about that last week with that defensive line that they have. We figured Miles Sanders might have some trouble, and sure enough, he did. Jalen didn't really have to run as much. We saw it. He had over like 380 yards, man, with his arm. So this team is really built to really handle whatever you throw at them. So hopefully we can continue doing what we're doing on offense and mainly defense. And shout out to special teams. They somehow fixed it this week. The special teams has been an issue all year long, and somehow they were able to do it. It looked like they were putting some starters in there as well, like we mentioned last week. They were able to get it done. I forget his name. Is it like Jonathan Ellis? They brought a dude up from the practice squad, and he had a couple huge hits on special teams. But overall, it was a fantastic game all around. They did exactly what they needed to do, like what we mentioned on the show last week. And hopefully they can do all of that and move it forward into next week against the Giants, because other than the running quarterback option, they're kind of a similar team in a way.
Yeah, definitely. So for me, man, a lot of points have definitely been made, and I completely agree with them. But one of the things that I want to definitely make sure I mentioned was Devontae Smith. Devontae Smith had a great game. Devontae Smith went out and gave us 100 yards, big catches, very aggressive. He looked like the guy that we drafted last year. I understand we're not going to get that every game because the way the things are dictated, sometimes they attempt to take him out of the game. And as I told everyone, and I said this on a lot of shows last week, a lot of people gave me weird side eyes. There was no way that the Philadelphia Eagles were not going to allow A.J. Brown to dominate this game and be a highlight and be something that people were talking about. This is the team that he feels gave up on him to some extent, and they did. They traded him. Also, this fan base was very disrespectful to this man when he left. So everything was in place for him to go out and do what he did, have a big game. I like the fact that they gave that, instead of trying to force the third touchdown to him, they went ahead and let Sanders get it on the ground. Very unselfish. I like the way that they're playing. I love the interactions among the wide receiver group and the running backs. There just doesn't seem to be any issues. And people try to make issues. Oh, Devontae Smith is not getting the ball as much as he was last year. Duh. Of course that's going to happen. You have another number one wide receiver now, a guy that at this point in his career may be better than Devontae Smith. But when called upon, he's making plays. There's games where he may have 3 catches for 40 yards, but all 3 of those catches are very important catches to the Philadelphia Eagles winning games. So I'm just excited to see the camaraderie among the guys, the way they're playing together. I definitely have to shout out special teams as Wise did, because I have been very critical of special teams all year. I definitely will admit and acknowledge that has been the case. But they've earned every bit of my scrutiny. But they finally went out and had a good performance. And it's interesting how when they're actually getting a solid field position, when they're actually stopping the other team from getting back to the 50-yard line, how much better the defense is, how much better the offense is, how we're able to dominate games more. It's very important to have all 3 phases of the game play well: your offense, your defense, and your special teams. We have that going on right now, so I feel confident that we're going to be able to go far if that continues. This is the point in the season where you want to start peaking, where you want to start playing your best football. Not in week 5, not in week 10, but once you get to week 14, 15, that's when you want to start peaking. So I think we're heading in the right direction. Very excited about that. And early on breaking news is there was one thing that we didn't talk about that we should have. So I'm going to go ahead and throw it out there now. Brandon Graham is our candidate, for Player of the Year.
Nice.
So definitely want to make sure that we shout him out for that. Excuse me, Man of the Year. I apologize. I said Man of the
Walter Payton, Man of the Year.
Yeah, the Walter Payton Man of the Year award. He's our candidate. He found out in the press conference where there were people, his wife and other people that he's helped, that he's motivated, whether he knew it or not. They all came to help break that news to him. So I thought that was a very great moment. Do any of you guys have any thoughts on Brandon Graham and his Man of the Year, Walter Payton Man of the Year nomination?
No, he deserves it. I mean,
Yeah.
BG's been great since he's been in Philly. Like, I'm glad he decided to come back and not retire. Like, who don't love BG?
Yeah. He's been such a huge part of not just the organization but the community in Philadelphia. You always see him out there, out and about, doing different things and helping everybody out.
Completely agree.
Definitely well deserved.
Agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, glad he definitely got that. Go ahead, Wyatt.
I did want to add to your the discussion about the game. One thing I forgot to mention: it was nice seeing some of the other tight ends get some work this week. Calcaterra and Jack Stoll had some big plays. I like how they're finally deciding to go to some of these tight ends now. They've been playing a little conservative since Dallas Goedert has been out with the tight end.
Mhm.
So it's nice to see them kind of put some trust in those guys and make some big plays.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It should always be find who's open and give them the ball.
Yeah.
And I think we're back to that comfort level because Hurts has got to get comfortable with the guys. They weren't playing a lot. They weren't featured in the passing game. And all of a sudden, the injury kind of switches everything. And the first couple of weeks, man, they were getting a lot of penalties. So it was kind of like, dude, I don't even trust throwing the ball because you can't even line up in the correct place and stay on sides, you know? So, but I think they kind of crossed that corner, which should
That
only
O-line.
make us stronger as we get to the playoffs because there'll be more weapons.
Yeah. That O-line was out partying Saturday night, apparently. They couldn't get right on Sunday during that game.
Hey,
They're getting some work this week, though. I guarantee you, Stoutland pissed.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah, man. I'm not going to harp on the penalties because of the way we played, but there was a point in time where I'm looking at the game and I'm like, y'all going to mess around and shoot yourself in the foot with these penalties. Come on, offensive line. But, I mean, they got it together. You know, we don't want that moving forward, but when you can overcome that and still have a game like this, that just shows how far we've come from, where we were earlier in the season. So excited about that piece. But the penalties themselves, yeah, we don't really need that, guys. We don't really need that. It's not where our head's at.
Go ahead,
Can
Jason.
I add something? I just want to add something real quick, just going off what Cool said. Excuse me. Obviously, we don't want all those penalties, but to look back on how well we did with that many penalties, 12, okay. But, I mean, in the first game against the Commanders, I think was the first game, we had 10 penalties, but we only won by 3. I mean, this game, obviously not good to have that many penalties, but look how much we won by. We overcame that. Just like Cool said, it's, I think King said it best, where the stick is moving up every week. So to win by 25 with the 10 penalties is just, that's amazing. Coming and just, I don't know. I just wanted to piggyback off that. I just thought fortunate for that many penalties, but look how much we won by. It's just, we grind all the way. And it just seems to be getting better. They're coming together and it's just, everybody seems to be able to get a chance. I don't want to say to play, but I don't know. It's more of a team and not a one-man show. That's how I see it. Well, if one person's hurt, another person picks up the slack, or 2 or 3 or whatever. But I just saw that, unfortunate penalties. Look how much we overcame that and how much we won by.
JC Sports Talk, what's going on, man? I'll speak for everybody to say it feels good to be at 11-1, sir. It feels really good. Feels really good. Appreciate you stopping by too, for sure. But yeah, so we got to get to our player or pariah of the game. We'll start with you, Miss Eagles Diva.
Oh, number 6. I got on Devontae. Yeah. Devontae. That's my boy.
Let's go. All right, Miss Swoop. Who you got?
Well, I hate to say the obvious, but Mr. A.J. Brown, but he deserves it. So, but if anybody that watches me knows, I always have my honorable mentions for some reason. I don't know why. Of course, Jalen Hurts, Miles Sanders, and for whatever.
She steals the players for everybody that goes after her.
Yeah.
She's just giving you a lot of, just in case you forget. She's just reminding you.
He knows me.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, Fletcher Cox's sack, I don't know. For me, I just honorable mention. I don't know why that is. The defense on a whole did really well. Jake Elliott did really well. I would have to say this is the first time I will give a pariah for the offense, but only because of so many penalties. So, and that's it.
Yeah, who you got, Wyatt? And then we can answer JC Sports' question.
Yeah, I didn't want to go with the obvious, with like Jalen Hurts or anything. I'm gonna go with that D line because that D line stepped up and did exactly what we expected to do every single week. And they I think they had like 6 sacks in total, was it, or 4 sacks? But man, they did that. They went out there and did exactly what they needed to do. The secondary looked good, and I feel like that was because of how dominant that defensive line was doing. I mean, Josh Sweat and I forget who was on the end. Reddick. Josh Sweat and Reddick, man. It seemed like both of those guys were getting around almost every play. So it's going to be nice. It's going to be interesting to see that duo going forward on what they kind of cook up for those guys. So I'm tired of seeing Hassan Reddick kind of drop back in coverage a little bit. I want to see him get at that quarterback. And it seems like maybe they're kind of figuring out that formula a little bit. Is Gannon adjusting? I really hope so. Maybe we're seeing the evolution right before our eyes.
So I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go with 2 guys. I first want to respond to your Sweat and Reddit comment. I feel like they were hugging at the quarterback a lot in the game, and I'm okay with that. Also, for me, Jordan Davis definitely has to be a player of the game. Run defense is so much better when he's out there, and stepping in to the lineup. Hasn't played a lot actual on the field this year, but you didn't even notice he was out there in a good way. Nakobe Dean.
Yep.
Right. I mean, you there was nothing that let you know Kaiser White was not on the field, and then Nakobe Dean was on the field. And sometimes that's the most important piece because when you get a guy that hasn't played a lot, and he's not a guy that's been in a rotation. Let's get it straight. And it's not that he's not good enough to play, but the guys playing in front of him are playing so well, it's pushing him on the bench, and he's been accepting of that. He's been out in the community doing things, doing everything you can ask a teammate to do when they're not actually playing and still be part of the team. Now, to answer JC's question about how do we feel going to MetLife, JC, just stay tuned. But we're going to have a whole conversation about that here in a few minutes, and it's going to be fun. I do agree here with JC's comment. Sweat and Reddick about to eat on Sunday. They need to eat every Sunday. And then 8 Eagle sacks versus
Epps.
Danny fumbles.
I feel like he's so. I like the way he plays, but that dude, he misses so many tackles.
Linebacker,
yeah, he does miss tackles.
He missed so many tackles.
Okay, stop making me laugh. I'm coughing.
For real.
Right.
If I had to pick like Jay Swoop said, like an honorable mention, I'd say Britton Covey though. That dude balled out. He had like 109 yards on return. That whole game.
I picked the whole special teams.
Yeah, they played well. I thought he was taking that one to the house.
And they actually made some hits. Like they blocked too.
Yeah,
long field.
He was actually getting some lanes. He wasn't running straight into a wall.
Physical.
Well, they said Philly had been burning them like all week, so they had no choice.
About time. You should have been doing it after week 1. And if I had to pick a pariah for this game, I would go with my constant pariah, and that would be the defensive coordinator, Jonathan Gannon. Maybe a little bit better this week, but we'll see if it was just the fact that once they had the 2 injuries, they just didn't really have, especially when their number 1 receiver went there, they just didn't really have other guys to get the ball to. We'll see if that was the case or not. But until he shows me differently, he is my always pariah.
So I was the only one that said AJ Brown?
Well, it was only the same after you said it, man.
Yeah. I try not to say someone already said.
I figured.
Yeah, it's only you said, but after you said it.
I figured y'all would at least 2 of you would have said it. I figured, I don't know. I just figured someone.
Well, I mean, everybody had a good game, though. You know what I'm saying? Like
they did. Yeah, they did.
AJ can't get all the credit. We love him, but he can't get all the credit.
Yeah, we'll talk about the season end of the day as well, but definitely want to put JC's comment up here real quick. Make sure that you like and subscribe. Go Birds. So, guys, we had a question earlier. Let me put it back up here. I think we had a little bit of time to think about it now. So we're going to answer Alyssa. When she asked, who do we think is going to be MVP? And why? So Wyatt, I'm going to start with you for this one. We can make it fast, but just we're going to answer Alyssa because she interactively asked us.
If things keep going as they are, there's no reason Jalen Hurts shouldn't be an MVP. I mean, I know we biased. We on an Eagles show, but I mean, with the level of play he has, I mean, as long as we can keep this going, we're stacking wins, and he's playing the way he is, running and passing the ball. There's no reason Jalen Hurts shouldn't be MVP. But you know how it is. Yeah, people hate on the Eagles. That no one likes us. We don't care. They're probably going to end up giving it to like Pat Mahomes or someone like that. I mean, I could definitely see Pat Mahomes getting the MVP. Everyone's still talking about him. I know after this week with that loss that he had, people are kind of talking about Jalen Hurts again and as the front runner. But at the end of the day, I feel like a lot of the people are going to vote towards Pat Mahomes other than Jalen Hurts. But we still have some games left. So Jalen, I mean, these past couple games have been blowing everyone's socks off. So as long as he continues that streak, we got an MVP in our hands.
Diva, who you got?
I mean, Jalen Hurts. I mean, why not? Like, he's just breaking records in history as a Philadelphia Eagle that a lot of quarterbacks have not done, period. Maybe Tom Brady, but he's doing it in a different way. So, I mean, honestly, I wouldn't see why it wouldn't be Jalen.
Miss Swoop.
Well, I think that, Gannon should be the MVP. I'm kidding. I'm starting to lose my voice, so I'm going to keep it short. I apologize, but so far it's got to be Hurts. If I had to pick one, it's got to be Batman the way he's going. So I apologize for being short.
All right, so we got a Hurts for MVP for sure. If Wentz was about to win in 2017, Hurts numbers all across the board is better than Wentz. And national media is trying to throw Joe Burrow in the mix, like Jalen Hurts don't have great numbers and stands 11-1. Usher voice. Watch this.
Stop.
Gotta give you the visual. But no, I think Jalen Hurts should be the MVP. But I think who is going to be the MVP is Justin Herbert. And I'm going to tell you why. He's putting up great numbers.
Dark horse.
They're not winning, but he's putting up great numbers. And the narrative is going to be he didn't have Keenan Allen or Mike Williams for the first 11, 12 weeks of the season. So I think he's going to be the guy that they're going to anoint and kind of make the MVP. And I think the other important part is they're not going to make the playoffs, I believe. So I think they're not going to make the playoffs. They want Justin Herbert to be like the guy moving forward. So the best way to do that is pull these numbers. And they have the numbers because their defense has been atrocious. They've had to have a shootout every game. But I think that's what they're going to try to do. So I think he's a guy that's going to be MVP. Who I think should be MVP is Jalen Hurts. But again, it's numbers. And when your defense is not playing well and you're just slinging the ball all around the field and you're getting these bloated numbers, that's what they love to anoint.
Man, I want to know what you're smoking, bro. You think Justin Herbert going to be MVP?
Look at the numbers, bro. Y'all don't understand it.
I mean, they can have all the numbers, but if he ain't winning, he ain't going to be MVP.
Why is he not? They're going to throw the love to him because they want it.
I don't know, man. I agree with
it's not just
King DV. They gonna give it to Burrow before they give it to Herbert.
It's not just yards. Look at his touchdowns. Look at his interceptions. Look at his yards per game. You look at his stats. They're gonna take those stats and they're gonna say, "This guy's who we want to be MVP."
I don't know, man.
Burrow's had some trashy games because he has not had his number one guy the whole year. It's got to be somebody who has the numbers that they can support when they get to the end of the season. So y'all can chastise me and say he has bad stats and all that right now. But when he slides into this MVP conversation, just remember, you will acknowledge me. And I will remind you all.
Hey, I'll be the first one to tell you you're right. But right now, I don't believe it.
Now,
here's the thing. Out of it.
Make sure you listen to the very first thing I said. Jalen Hurts should be the MVP. That doesn't mean that they're going to give it to him, but he should be.
Yeah, I agree.
But they're going to find a way to give it to somebody else, and I think that person is going to be Herbert based upon stats.
I don't know about all that, man.
Hey, you don't have to agree with it. A lot of
NFL
people
gonna
didn't
look
agree
like
with
an
me last week
embarrassment to
either.
give MVP to a dude that didn't even make the playoffs.
Daniel Snyder has been an NFL owner for years. He's embarrassing everyone. Okay, Jerry Jones is down there making, doing racist things back in his 10 years and not even
What's going on
acknowledging it.
over there?
And nothing's happened. And nothing's happening. So you think the NFL is worried about being an embarrassment? You definitely looking at the wrong league because they've
Yeah,
been an
I don't
embarrassment
know.
for a while.
I just don't see that. I see like
Watch what I
4 other
Even
dudes
are
in
just staying
consideration
out of it.
over that dude. But I digress. We can move on though.
Watch that. But so we'll just quickly go over because I want to give us some time to talk about this Giants game. So I'll just quickly go over the positioning right now. So we got the Bills still number 1 in the AFC, number 1 all over seed. We've got the Chiefs at number 2 at 9-3 as well. The Bills overtook them, but they're both 9-3, obviously with the loss. The Baltimore Ravens are 8-4. They're the overall 3 seed, first in their division, of course. And then you have the Tennessee Titans. Just want to quickly say, but the Eagles ain't played nobody though, huh? Eagles ain't played nobody though. Back to schedule or plan. Cincinnati Bengals, they are 5th at 8-4. Miami Dolphins are 6th at 8-4 as well. The New York Jets 7-5, right outside the playoffs. The Patriots is 6-6, and the aforementioned Los Angeles Chargers also at 6-6. So we'll stop there. There's a couple of teams at 5-7, but we're not even going to go there because it feels like it's going to be hard for them to catch up. They put themselves in a better position. We'll talk about them next week. In the NFC, we know who's number 1. Number 2 is the Vikings at 10-2. Number 3 is the 49ers at 8-4. That's going to be an interesting team to watch too coming up. Tampa Bay Buccaneers are 4th at 6-6. The Arlington football team is 9-3 at number 5. Our opponent this week, the Giants, 7-4-1. They're in 6th. And jumping over the Commanders, the Seattle Seahawks, who are 7-5. And they are in 7th place. And on the bubble looking in, we have the Commanders at 7-5-1. Got a couple of 5-win teams, but again, we'll wait until they get a little closer. Then we'll throw them into the playoff picture. So I'll make it quick because, like I said, I want to give us some time to talk about the Giants game. Any quick thoughts on the rankings?
Not really, man. I mean, NFC, we just got to keep that number 1 seed locked up, keep that home field advantage. AFC, I think them Bengals going to be rising here over the next couple of weeks. They're getting hot at the right time. Like you said, this is the time of year where you're going to find out who's elite going into the playoffs. And it's looking like the Bengals are really starting to put it together. Joe Burrow undefeated against them Chiefs.
It does make a very good point. Absolutely. All right, guys. So we're going to slide over to a very important part of the week, and that is our preview. So for this week, it's the James Bradberry game review because somebody got outcasted by the Giants, and now he's got a chance to go back. And what makes it great from that perspective, he's a cornerback, right? So if you don't want him to be a big pitcher, you just don't throw the ball close to him. But he has a team full of guys that remembers that he was on that team and they discarded him, and that's how we got him. So those guys are going to go out and play hard for him as well because they want their guy to know we got your back, bro, and this is one of the times that we get to go in and stick it to the team that didn't want you. So I'm excited to see that happen. Have some more thoughts, but I'm not going to hog all the time here. So Eagles Diva, talk to us.
After seeing that game against the Commanders, I'm not really too worried. Once again, if we lose because we're not sticking to the game plan, and we're not playing like we did against the Titans because it ain't no way if we're firing on offense and defense that we cannot put them out, but especially get that win. So I just say maintain the ball, either run. Really, I prefer running the ball and not Jalen because it scares me. I don't want Jalen to get hurt because we need him. But either way, we got it in the bag. I'm not too worried about the Giants. Y'all struggled with the Commanders, and it went into a tie. So, nah, not worried.
Fair enough. Wyatt, what you got for us?
I'm gonna try to, because it seems like every time I get cocky and say that we're gonna go out and blow the doors off a team or that we're gonna do something, something always happens. So I'm gonna try not to get too cocky, but I'm gonna start with 2 words: Boston Scott. The Giant Killer is gonna be in effect on Sunday. Every single time we play them Giants, it's pretty much guaranteed to happen right now. This dude's gonna have like 2 touchdowns and like close to 100 yards. You watch. I mean, we've been using Miles Sanders a lot, but Boston Scott just has those games against the Giants. So look for him to be a huge factor in this game. We just gotta take Daniel Jones out of his comfort level as far as his defense. As long as that defensive line does its thing, we should be okay. We have had some troubles with some of these mobile QBs, which of course we know Daniel Jones is the running back of QBs. So we got to be careful with that. But it seems like last week, even though with Ryan Tannehill having that bum ankle, it seemed I did see that defense sort of adjust to him getting out of that pocket and going on these big runs. Jay Swoop mentioned about Fletcher Cox spinning off that tackle and going after him that one time. We need to be seeing that sort of thing. But I mean, as long as we can get Daniel Jones out of his comfort level, he's going to do the rest for us. He's going to make some bad decisions like he's prone to do. And as far as our offense, we just got to keep doing what we're doing. Don't let them try to blitz us a lot. Because that Giants defense, I mean, I did see a comment. They're missing like a couple of their cornerbacks. But that defensive line of theirs can cause havoc a little bit. It's won games for them this year already. We just got to be ready for that blitz. And hopefully the offense can just go out and do the rest,
Absolutely. So I want to go ahead and acknowledge JC Sports comment. Puff pass. Must be smoking. Must be good. Hey, that's how you feel about it, man. But like I said, when you start to see that name mentioned, we get closer to the end of the year. Just remember, acknowledge me. That's all I got to say about that. King DV brings up a great point here. They allow 5.1 yards per rush, and their 2 starting cornerbacks are hurt. I'm chilling. Barkley gets shut down to 50 yards, 12-1, my brothers and sisters.
Yeah, that's the way it should go.
James Bradberry, pick 6, possibility. I want to bring up a few things. I want to play a little devil's advocate because we're Eagles fans, right? So we just had a dominant win. So obviously we're going to look at the next game and say, hey, we're going to go out there and we're going to smash them. We're going to crush them. We're going to devour them. We're going to destroy them. I would love for that to happen, and I will not be mad if it does. But just for the other side of things, what if Saquon does get off, right? What if, because he's being used in the passing game as well as a running back, right? Because of their lack of wide receivers. So he's going to be a pass catcher as well. So he's going to run routes. He's going to get the ball in the backfield via catches as well. So there may be situations where he makes big plays on us, where Danny is as one of my good podcasting friends who is a Giants fan calls him Danny Nichols. So maybe Danny Nichols is out there running. He's able to get some first downs with his legs. They're able to kind of impose the will a little bit through the run game, right? Let's just say that happens. Maybe the game's a little bit closer than we like. It is a divisional rival. So I'm not going to be as comfortable to say we're going to go out and just destroy them. But I do feel comfortable in saying I feel like we should go in and win this game. Here's another important thing that I'm very concerned about. Their field is garbage. So I don't want us to go too hard and someone to get an injury that could, change the course of the rest of our season playing on garbage grass or garbage turf. So I really wish they'd fix that field for everybody. And I feel bad for the Giants players because you have to play on this like half of your season. But I'm concerned about that, and we may employ a game plan that's a little bit different to try to protect players from doing too much and getting injured on this field. So I feel like we should win this game. I don't know if I feel comfortable saying we're going to win by more than 2 touchdowns. I feel more comfortable saying we're probably going to win by like 10 points. So if I had to pick, I'd say let's go 21-31. I would feel more comfortable going with something like that than a blowout or us just holding them to no points, because I think this is a field they know. They know the good passes to run on, the places that are more solid, the places where you can kind of make plays on and where you can't. So I think that field's going to play a big part in the game. I think we'll still win, but I think we'll be more like, all right, let's get in. Let's try to get our points. And then let's kind of get our guys out, right, early in the fourth and get the other guys in so that we can try to protect people on this field. So I think that's more where I'm looking at when I see this Giants game. I see us winning, but I see it being a little bit closer than most people anticipate when I kind of look at some of those other factors besides just who's the better team on the field.
Yeah, just straight up being a division game, you can expect that.
Yeah.
Right.
All right, guys. So any other thoughts on the game?
Nah, go Birds.
That's it. Fly, Eagles, fly.
All right. And I know we always end with any final thoughts. So any final thoughts about anything Eagles that you guys want to go ahead and shoot out there?
Nothing crazy, but apparently got like a bunch of players leading in Pro Bowl votes. I mean, it's nothing crazy, but it's it's encouraging.
Yep.
I saw Jalen Hurts is like number one in the NFC as far as QBs.
Yeah, I read Tua is the number one overall, I think.
Yeah, but I mean, as far as NFC,
Pro Bowl votes.
Jalen Hurts is number one right now.
But yeah, I think Jalen's number. Yeah. King DV with the cacao. And Alyssa hits us with the Fly Eagles Fly. We'll be watching next week. Appreciate that, Alyssa. Definitely appreciate everybody that hops in, man. You don't have to agree with me. Most people don't agree with me, so that's fine. But I definitely appreciate you guys tuning in and watching. And you're the ones that make the show go, man. You know what I'm saying? Now, I just want to say, man, I'm very excited that we're where we're at. I love the fact that all we have to do is take care of business and we determine where we go. A lot of times in seasons, you have this, this team beats this team, and this team ties with this team, and then this team only scores this many points, and then this team loses 2 weeks later to this team. You guys will be this or that. We don't have to worry about any of that. All we have to do is go out, win games, continue to win games, and we can be the number one seed. We don't need anyone's help. That's the most important thing. I'm excited to be in this position. We've been in this position a couple of times before. Most recently, we were in this position. We know what happened. We know.
Mm-hmm.
So,
we
for
could
me,
clinch our first spot here this Sunday.
Mm-hmm. We can clinch the playoffs and just win the game, and we're in the playoffs. That's all we got to do. We don't need anybody's help.
Win the game. Sorry.
That's the most important thing. Win the game.
Mm-hmm.
So, New York Giants, as is a custom, the Eagles Elite podcast, it's one thing we need to let you know. That's for sure. So again, man, everybody that sees the replay, everybody that watches live, everybody that commented, everybody that does watch later, appreciate you all. Without you guys, there's no point in us doing this. So definitely shout out to y'all as well. And we'll be back next week to give you a little bit more of that hot fire.
Tell a friend.
Bring a friend. Yes, sir.
Fly Eagles Fly.
Thanks. Fly Eagles Fly.
And we always are # being elite. Let's go.
Always.
Mm-hmm.
The kick is away, and the kick it's good! And the Eagles win!
It's hard to come to South Philadelphia and leave here with the win. You just don't come to Philadelphia and leave here with the win.
Eagles fans everywhere, this is for you. Let the celebration begin!